The Republic of Sudan is accusing President William Ruto of what they term as breaking promises of highest level. Through a press statement they released yesterday, Sudan government is saying that President William Ruto, in his earlier promises, promised that is not going to allow any activities to be held in Nairobi, any activities that aims to jeopardize the government of Sudan. Looking by what happened yesterday, the RSF having an event at the KICC in Nairobi, then the Sudan government is saying that Ruto has broken that promise. So they released a very long press statement. I'm going to read part of this press statement they released yesterday. It is a very long press statement, but I'm going to read part of it. Thereafter, we shall discuss, we shall give more details about the RSF and what they're planning to do in regards to leadership in Sudan. So the press statement says, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs regrets the Kenyan government disregard for its obligations under international law, the Charter of the United Nations, the Constitutive Act of the African Union, and the Convention on the Prevention and Punishment of the Crime of Genocide by hosting the event of signing a so-called political agreement between the terrorist Janjaweed militia responsible for the ongoing act of genocide in Sudan and its affiliated individual groups. Given that the stated objective of this agreement is to establish a parallel government on part of Sudanese territory, this move promotes the dismembering of African states, violates their sovereignty and interferences in their internal affairs. This is, therefore, a clear breach of the UN Charter, the Constitutive Act of the African Union, and the established principles of the contemporary international order. Furthermore, hosting leaders of the terrorist RSF militia and allowing them to conduct political and propaganda activities while they continue to perpetrate genocide, massacre civilians on an ethnic basis, attack IDP camps, and commit acts of rape constitutes an endorsement of and complicity in these heinous crimes. And then in the last paragraph it says, while the ministry calls on the international community to condemn this hostile act by Kenya government, it affirms that it will take necessary measure to redress the balance. So here the Sudan, from this press statement, is the Sudan government has been angered by Ruto's act of hosting the RSF group led by Hamdan Hemedti, and remember this is a group that has been sanctioned. The group and its leaders has been sanctioned by the US, and they are not allowed to step in the US, and all its assets have been frozen. So this is a group that has been there. Remember, as we speak right now, we still have Sudan is in bad condition. A lot is happening there, the war and everything that is happening there. So Sudan is accusing these RSF group of committing these atrocities, and that they are saying that Ruto allowing them to come together and to have a meeting here in KICC in Kenya is like Ruto is supporting this act by RSF. And remember, so far as we speak, 8 million Sudanese have been displaced, while we have thousands of others who have lost their lives. Remember also there have been this RSF group have been accused of raping young girls and women, and so they have committed a very heinous act, and that according to Sudan government, Ruto should not have allowed them to do so. So remember, in yesterday's meeting they made an agreement, and that on Friday they are going to sign a charter that will see them form a parallel government, and that they will be operating in Sudan. So we will have a Sudan government and this other government led by Hemedti and his associates. So it is really, I've seen also people have lawyers or political analysts who have come out to condemn Ruto for doing this, saying that our diplomacy is the state of our diplomacy is really deteriorating with the latest act by President William Ruto. Remember, Ruto in the previous has made some diplomacy blunders. Remember when we have the DRC and the Rwanda issue. We have the DRC. We have the Palestine and the Israel. Ruto has been coming out to show support to one of these group. An act that some Kenyans are saying that it is not good, and that Ruto need to show some neutrality in these issues, that Ruto is not supposed to be there and saying that I'm supporting DRC or I'm supporting Rwanda, I'm supporting RSF and all that. It should be neutral in these issues as far as diplomacy is concerned. Do you think that it was right for President William Ruto to allow RSF to conduct their meeting here in Kenya? Do you support this? Remember that was the meeting. I'm reading that the meeting, according to reports, is that the meeting was supposed to be held on Monday, but it was postponed to yesterday, and now they will have a final meeting on Friday. And in that final meeting, they are going to sign a charter that will see them form a parallel government. So I'm seeing also the likes of lawyer Ahmed Nasir condemning the act by the government, and this is what Ahmed Nasir has written on his X platform. I agree with Sudan. Kenya suddenly has become a very destabilizing force in the region. Why invite a shifter to KICC to form a shifter government in exile? We must support the legitimate government of Sudan and stop entertaining a shifter and a few of his relatives. This is Ahmed Nasir's opinion in regards to this matter, and he's saying that President William Ruto should support the legitimate government, that is the Sudan, the government of the day, and he should not be supporting these others groups that are coming up, that are coming out, that they want to form a parallel government and all that. So he's saying that Kenya is becoming a destabilizing force in the region. I remember I've mentioned earlier that we have issues, remember the DRC issues, and some of the things that they say that it made Raila to lose the AUC chairperson seat is because of these diplomatic blunders that Ruto keeps on making. Ruto keep on just taking sides in matters that need neutrality. So they are asking Ruto to be very careful in approaching these matters, and to be very considerate, considering that we are trying to imagine that Sudan, able try to picture this, that Kenya is not in good shape in terms of peace and everything, and that we have groups that are meeting in Sudan to form a parallel government against President William Ruto. Remember, if this act was Kenya experiencing this, what will be the reaction of President William Ruto? Of course, it could bring. Of course, it is not like something that should be taken it lightly. So Kenyans are asking President William Ruto, why is it so hard for you to become neutral in these diplomatic issues? Why is it a must for you to take a side? Why must you take side in these very sensitive matters? And that you are making these, you are making Kenya to be in a very controversial position. And so they are telling the president, no, come on. Some of these things you must remain silent about it. Remember when he came out and said that I'm supporting Israel. Remember when he came out and saying that he has made a phone call to France President Macron. You see, these are some of the things that Kenya want President William Ruto to tone down. That he should not take side in these matters when other countries are facing wars and President William Ruto should not be coming out and saying that I'm supporting this group and that this group should be, no, it should be just neutral and let those countries to solve their own problems in a way that is not going to affect anyone. So it is another day of us making diplomatic blunders, but who knows? Our country is becoming something else day by day. There are stories that you read and you're like, what is really happening with this government? So there is a lot that is coming out, and I don't know if what is happening. Even asking myself what is really happening. So that is it for me for now. Thanks for watching. This is Sophia Live.